Bet you didn't expect exploding horseshoes or duck Quidditch, but apparently some stuff you just can't make up. Welcome back, fellow citizens of Jar, to Deron for Super President. This is the show in which we try to build our own country, take over the entire universe, and fix all of the universe's problems. If that sounds like something you think you might like, please hit the subscribe button down below to be counted as a citizen and to join us on our path to glory. Now, I've had a few comments recently, especially this one, about a possible national sport for Jar. And of course, you can't go into national sports without taking a look at the competition. I understand that most countries like to have something broad in general, but like, you can sum up pretty much all national sports as like horse stuff, track and field stuff, generic sports, and that's like 98% of them, except for the brave few. That's right. Coming to us from the wonderful country of Afghanistan, we have, I'm not gonna pronounce any of these right, Buzkashi, which is literally translated to goat pulling. Basically how this sport works is, oh boy, imagine you got a bunch of guys, and they're all gonna run around and play like a soccer kind of game. Except instead of on soccer, you're on horses. So we're like, you know, up to 12 on this one. And instead of a soccer ball, you have a dead goat. What? A dead goat or calf. And the idea is for players to take the carcass, ride to a goal, and place it in the goal. What makes this completely bonkers, on top of the fact that this is, ew, gross, is that apparently originally this sport could last for multiple days. So not only have you started with a goat carcass, 3 days later, you're Jeremy and you're riding away on a horse. If you haven't won, basically you get punished by the thing rotting on you. And it gets probably harder and harder to hold on to the ball. Next up, from the phenomenal country of Colombia, we have Tejo, or as I like to call it, long-range exploding horseshoes. Basically the idea, if you really boil down to it, is imagine a bunch of people in small bowling alleys, like 20 meters long, throwing discs at the equivalent of a Mario warp pipe, and trying to get it inside. And the weirdest part about this would be like a weird shuffleboard thing, if not for the fact that they like to tape explosives to the inside and sides of the tube, so that if you hit it, it blows up. And you get points! Because every good sport is better with explosions, like any action movie. The action is where the explosion is. And finally, we have duck Quidditch. So if you travel far away, or if you live here, next door, to lovely Argentina, you have a game called Pato, or also translated Juego del Pato. It literally translates to duck game. Now, it is described on Wikipedia as combining elements from polo and basketball, but if you think about how this works, you have a bunch of riders riding around on a field. There's hoops in the air. People need to run around and throw a ball through the hoops while riding on a thing to get points. I like to call this Quidditch. Now, two things about Quidditch that usually aren't involved in games is, one, the ability that people can just sort of leave the playing field whenever they felt like it. And at least in the original version of Pato, apparently the playing field would literally consist of neighboring ranches, so pretty big. And finally, if you're looking for a sport just like Quidditch, where the ball has a mind of its own, why do you think it was called Duck Game? In the original version of the game, apparently, by most accounts, instead of a ball, they used a duck in a basket. So the many ideas people have had for national sports over the years, I like the weird ones. So we're gonna try to come up with a national sport for Jar. So I have a call out. We're gonna need to make some sort of sport which is competitive, which we could play, perhaps if the groups ever got together, large scale. But please, leave comments down below. I'm looking for weird rules, references to things that most people don't understand, stuff that makes people who aren't part of the country really go, why? Who came up with this? That's exactly what we're looking for. Because the best thing to have when you go to a country is culture shock. So we're looking for something absolutely fun, where if at any point in time ever, if all of the citizens were somehow to show up in the same room, we could play this game and make passersby go, what are you doing? And if people don't come up with sports, I'll come up with stupid sports in between, and we'll have a fun clip show of various possible sports for Jar next time, or maybe a few times from now. So this is your super presidential candidate Deron, signing off for this week, saying, welcome to Jar. Jar takes all kinds, and your family now. Please join us this week and every week. We go up every single Monday and Friday, and you can check in our description for things like our Patreon or our Tumblr, Facebook, blah 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 blah. And I would like to leave you, as always, with our viewer-submitted motto for Jar, which is, we are Jar. If you love Jar, you love us. We'll see you on Monday.